And having said that, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go ahead and switch gears. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my browser, which is here. And what you're going to be able to see here in just 1 second is the National Life Portal. Again, we use the word or the company name of NLG and LSW interchangeably a lot, and sometimes causes confusion. National Life Group is the parent company of Life of the Southwest. If you have an older teacher, they're going to know LSW. If you have a younger teacher or someone who just started saving in the last couple of years, they'll know National Life Group. So when somebody says, oh, yeah, I already have a 403B with LSW, oh, great, we're the parent company of LSW. So it's nice having you part of our family, and so on and so on. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go over something that all of you should be doing on your own, because the number one reason people don't pass appointment number 2's audition, the software. That's the number one thing. They're sitting there messing around with it. Oh, could have sworn it was working yesterday. Listen, I'm going to show you, and I'm going to time how long it takes me to do an illustration, even though with appointment number 2, you cheat. How do you cheat? Well, with what I'm going to do right now, you're going to cheat because when you have appointment number 1, you took all the information. Remember how you took all the information? You did the CalSTRS worksheet. You have their date of birth. You have everything. So what you're going to do, you're going to go home. You're going to run the illustration. You're going to save it. And once you save it, when you go see them the second time, which is appointment number 2, the audition, you have it already saved up. We're not going to trick you. No one's going to trick you. And it's going to be just about going through the script. So that's why I'm saying you want to do this. So I'm going to show you how to do an illustration. So I'm clicking on the illustration tab. And for those that didn't see it, it's this puzzle piece on the upper right-hand corner where it says, well, illustrations. You're going to click on this link right here. From here, it's going to take you to the illustrations homepage. When you're at the illustrations homepage, it all starts on the upper left-hand corner with new illustration. I'm going to zoom in so you can kind of see it. It all starts with new illustration. Now, if you already ran and saved, that's the key word. If you ran and saved a prior illustration, you'll find it under your case list. Very, very simple. So that's what you want to do. The very first time, you're going to click on new illustration like I'm doing right now. And it's going to ask you a couple of questions. What state is this for? Well, for most of you, it'll already say California. Most of the time, or always, it will say Index Universal Life, basic illustration. So of the 3 source information options, how many did I have to select? The answer is none. Absolutely none. So anyways, so you have California, Index Universal Life, basic illustration, nothing got switched. It's super easy. And so from the lower left-hand side, the product name we use is Flex Life when it comes to an IUL. Flex Life. So I'm going to click on Flex Life. And once that does open up, it'll look just like it does right here. And it is super simple because what you see here is, well, a couple of things. First of all, always run an illustration with your prospect's real name. In other words, don't leave it at value client. A lot of agents do that because they're going to show them just the numbers. There is great power in customizing something for somebody with their name. Now, I do it because it also helps me remember their name. Sometimes I just have the appointment card and I don't want to be looking at the appointment card. When one more place for their name to be there, I'm going to do it. And so I'm just going to come in here and just call this one Johnny Smith. Always start first name, last name. Now, as we go down the fields, this is going to be broken down into a couple of different areas. You have insured information, and even simpler, the first tab on the left-hand side is going to be client information, death benefit, quick view. So here's what I'm just going where it defaulted to. So it's going to start with name, last name, sex. Always go from with the date of birth, because this product, like most life insurance products, will be based on their nearest birthday. I don't know if that makes any sense to you. So if somebody's birthday is in October, right? We're closer to October. They might be 35. For purposes of this, they're going to be 36. So to avoid confusion, just simply go ahead and put it in this example, March 30th. You got to put the slash, and the year has to be in this format. So I'm going to put March 30th, 1992. Whenever you input the information in one field, always click away. Click away from that field so that the system knows that you're done. And if you notice it defaults to a 45 years of old, that's what was there before in the generic birth date that it came with. When I click away, look what happens at 45. It changed to 31 right away. So always click away from the field. Then we go down to the risk information, standard non-tobacco. My recommendation is to always leave it at standard non-tobacco, even if you're talking to a triathlon type of athlete. Because if they do come back that good, I think it was Monica just had one this week. Was it you, Monica, that just submitted it as standard, but yet it came back with elite. They offered elite. Was it you, Monica?
Yeah.
Was it elite, or what was it that it came back as?
Elite, the best out of the best.
Wow. And so she submitted it as standard. It got approved in 11 hours, which is almost 12 hours, which is pretty cool. But when it came back approved, not only did it come back standard, it came back elite. And so if they qualify for elite, they'll give it to them without you having to ask. So that's reason how you want to do that. Now, for purposes here, we are done. There's nothing else to do. So once again, name, sex, date of birth, click away so the age populates, standard non-tobacco. One question that not everybody, a lot of people were getting wrong during the auditions. They kept asking, do you smoke? Do you smoke? That's not what the script says. The script says, do you use any tobacco products? Because I cannot smoke, but I can chew. Does that make sense? And so you always want to make sure you're asking, do you use any tobacco products? That's a lot better. So anyways, standard non-tobacco. I have a question for you guys. What if somebody comes back and let's just say you do a medical, for whatever reason you had to do a pee in a cup, blood, and they pop for THC, they pop for weed. A lot of people are doing that right now, that they're smoking weed. What happens to them? Anybody know?
Call North American.
Call North American, that's one way. Okay, what else? Anybody know? How, if anything, do they penalize them is what I'm trying to get at. Deny them. I mean, okay. We're not going to.
They'll usually either
they rate up
death benefit or raise the premium a little bit.
I think somebody was going to say it.
They rate them differently.
Okay, if the answer is they're considered smokers. All right, and so that's what's going to happen. So if somebody comes in and says, "Yeah, hey, you know what? You pop for weed," or they tell you weed, they just simply hit them up as they were smokers. They will get a tobacco rating every single time. So it is. It's going to help them. That's the way it is with National Life Group. Or you can go to other companies who now are not denying them like they used to, but they are definitely just making them pay a little bit more, whatever the case might be. So anyways, so this is it. Non-tobacco, that's all I changed. Next thing is going to be death benefit and funding. When you click on death benefit and funding, well, this windows here changed a little bit. We're going to leave it as is. Guideline premium test, GPT, is always by default where it goes to and where you leave it. MEC allow avoidance, we don't care about that. But this is super important. You have the final say as to how you select the face. How do you solve it for face amount? The only two options that we really have are, number one, what's called based on target premium. What we use, I have never used based on target premium personally. I've always used min-max, minimum death benefit, or DB, maximum cash value. So what's going to happen, the software is going to ask, what's the least amount of life insurance this person can get for this much money? Because we want the bulk of the money to go towards their savings or their cash value. So if I select based on target premium, that's really designed to benefit me. Because if I click on based on target premium and they want to save $200 a month, all the computer's going to do is take $200 a month times 12 is going to be how much? Anybody?
2,400.
Okay, $2,400. So the commission is going to be $2,400. I'm going to get my percentage from $2,400, but that's not why we're doing the IUL. We are doing it because now, when I switch it to minimum maximum, it's going to give them less life insurance, meaning I'm going to make less, but the savings are going to go into their cash value, which is what we really want them to do. So the answer is min-max, or you can select based on target premium. Is up to you. I use only min-max. which is how it works. From there, we're going to leave the death benefit option at level A. I'm sorry, at option A. It simply means it's going to start at, let's just say 200,000 and stays 200,000 until the cash value almost catches up to the face amount and it pushes up the insurance. But that doesn't happen for 20-something years usually. Here's our cheat sheet. If it's an adult, we select A. If it's a baby, we select B. B simply means it starts very, very low and starts to increase every single year. Well, that might leave them underinsured, or that will leave them underinsured if they're adults, if they have responsibilities and a mortgage or whatever. So the answer, A. A for adults, B for babies. The next thing we're going to do is decide how are they going to pay. 99% of our clients pay on a monthly basis. So I'm selecting monthly right there. And the next question is going to be type. So what are you talking about when you say monthly? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to come in here and we're going to specify, we're going to tell them how much they're going to save in the IUL. Now, it always defaults to $1,500 a month. And of course, that's not the case for most people. So let's just say it's going to be a $400 a month IUL. So what you need to do here is type in the $400, click away. There you go. Keep going to the right. And if you notice, it defaults to something called 1-M. That stands for year one, which is when the policy starts, all the way through maturity, meaning until they die. They're going to pay until they die. Well, we don't do that. We illustrate with them stopping at 62, 60, or whatever you are going to show them. So in this example, I'm going to use, they're going to pay until age, which is the letter A, 62, age 62. It could be 60, it could be whatever, age 62. Now, what's going to happen, this takes care of the funding of the premium amount. This is how much we're going to pay. We're going to scroll down some more, and now we're going to go to the distribution. Distribution simply means that's when they start to receive money, income. That's what we want. So distribution, we always use, not always, we like to use annual because the numbers are much bigger and they're much easier to illustrate. So you can do monthly, we do annual. Then from there, type. Well, we want the system to solve for income. In other words, we want the computer to figure out how much can they access on an annual basis without it running out, because we're going to tell them they're going to have income for life. But if I just throw in there, this person needs $30,000, it'll illustrate 30,000, but it's only going to do it for a year, 2, 3 years. I want it to solve for income. And what it did, it automatically changed this right here. It took 63, which is 1 year after they paid their last premium. Remember I told it age 62. So it went from age 62 down to age 63 automatically. And M means maturity again, or when they die. Age 63 until they die. So we want to show them lifetime income. And for the most part, we are done. For the most part, we are done. All we need to do is go to the left again under quick view. Now, the difference between quick view and reports, it will give you a very long report, which you're going to show them later, but we're going to click on the quick view to make sure the numbers make sense. So if I'm talking to this client right here, and these are the results. First of all, initial face amount is $361,000. Now, I select that level. So what does that mean? That means that if you go to the right-hand side where it shows you the face amount, it says net death benefit right here on the right-hand side, 361, 361, 361. It's going to stick at 361 for a long time because the cash value is so low. But at some point, the cash value is going to start to, here, let's just look at the cash value. So what we have here, let me move this around. And so as you can hear, this is the accumulated value, or what I call the gross balance. There's two numbers, gross and net. Let's talk gross. So the first year, this person has 3,000, 7,000, 11,000. The IRS tax code section 7702 says you must always have more life insurance than you do cash value all the time. If that ever turns around, if the cash value ever passes the amount of life insurance, it's considered an investment and the whole thing is taxable, the whole thing. So you don't want to do that. So the way the system and the company fixes that is they're going to start to raise the death benefit. So if you notice here on the right-hand side, it's 361, because the cash value, even though it is growing, it's pretty small, 25,000, 30. But look what happens. Look what happens when this puppy, because remember, you need to understand that the Rule 72 tells us that eventually the cash value is going to double every X number of years. So once that starts to happen, usually around year 12 to 14, give or take, then we're going to go all of a sudden into the 100,000s. And as you can see, by the time we get to year whatever this might be, there's $250,000. That's getting within the ratio allowed for a death benefit of 361. So when this one hits 290, the life insurance is increased to 400,000. When this one is at 340,000 of life insurance, of cash value, the life insurance is 442. So it's outpacing it. It's going to stay ahead of it. That's pretty cool, which is intended to protect both the client's money, meaning from becoming taxable, but also it's intended to make sure that there's enough security to cover all the money that the client is accessing. So what I did here, I went ahead and ran the numbers. So what I always do, even when I have the client in front of me, now you're going to be able to cheat because you're going to be at home making sure this makes sense. Okay, 361,000 sounds right. That's cool. They do have a minimum premium of $1,087 a month, which is around $86 a month. So what does that mean? If at any time the client does not want to pay, first of all, you have 400. That's what I told it, $400. That looks good. But if for whatever reason the client does not want to pay or cannot pay the full $400, teachers do this all the time in the summer. The option they have is the option to simply pay the minimum. When somebody pays the minimum, all they are paying for is the life insurance and fees. Those two things. No money is going towards cash value. So their balance is not growing during that period. So that's why the script says it does affect cash value, and we don't recommend you doing it for too long. Some of the most unscrupulous life insurance agents, which are part of the reason we have so many regulations, what they do is they get people life IULs. They do it under target premium, big commission, and then they tell the client that all they have to do is pay $87 for all that peace of mind. And I know that because I just met with a police officer who got one of those policies, and it's about to implode, literally implode. Now, I don't know how to fix it. George sat with me, and he's so far behind because he was sold on the minimum payment. And it is so wrong. It is so unfair. But I'm just telling you, don't want to do that for too long because you're going to be owing the company, and then that's when the whole thing collapses. So in this example, this client does have a minimum, which is peace of mind, that if they can't pay the $400, they can pay just $87, and the policy's still in force. Death benefits are there, living benefits are there, his cash value is there. But when he can, he should go back to $400. That's the whole purpose of this. Another thing to keep in mind is also the MEC amount. A MEC, which is down, who here knows what a MEC stands for? Just curious. Anybody? MEC.
Modified Endowment Contract.
There you go. And so what ends up happening is if you hit this number, once again, you're going to be in trouble with the IRS. And so here, there's another protection for the client. I have clients that do this. This person is doing $400 a month, but they say, you know what? I like this product so much, I'm going to throw $1,200 a month. Well, you could do that for a little while, but not for the long term. You will make it out. It's what it's called. The good news, and this happens a lot, by the way, with kids. We do a lot of these with kids. Once you understand how the concept of IUL works, it's perfect for children. And so I have it on my grandchildren's lives and so on. And every once in a while, if I send too much money, the company, National Life Group, will send me a check back saying, sorry, we can take the $1,000, but we can't take $1,500. It'll make out. And they will send you the money back. So there's no risk there. So I'll show you how I explain it to the client in one moment. Now,
Can I ask a question real quick?
Go ahead.
What happens if it does MEC out? Is it just a tax?
They owe taxes. They would owe taxes on their capital gains, and it's no longer considered tax-free. And so, that's not a good thing. I was in Egypt. My wife and I, as you guys know, we like to travel a lot. So for Valentine's Day, I took her to Egypt, and we were in Egypt, and I was driving down the highway, And all I saw, well, not all, but a lot of what I saw we're in the desert, man. And so there were these, I thought they were dirt mounds. I don't know they look more like domes, almost perfectly round things. Mound. And I asked the guy, what are those? I mean, what is that? And his answer was, those are collapsed pyramids. People think that the pyramids last forever. Most of them are collapsed. That's why the Great Pyramid is still the Great Pyramid, and it's sure enough, the way it happens is they lose balance, they lose structure, and they collapse in on themselves and just become a perfectly round mound. And so the same thing happens when you don't do an IUL the right way, for obvious reasons. Now, one other number you'll always see here, which is the one on the left-hand side, and I'm going to try to bring it up a little bit closer. All the numbers you need to know, by the way, are also going to be right here. And so what this shows you, this is the summary values. It'll show you the minimum premium, the death benefit protection premium, everything. But here's a very important number, the target premium. This is your commission contract times this number. That's what's important to know. So you will never have to guess how much you're going to make on any given deal. Now, had I selected based on target premium, automatically the target premium now becomes 4,800 because it's 400 times 12, that's 4,800. So I would make more. And then if you really want to be sneaky, you give them a lot more life insurance based on target premium, tell them it's only $200 a month. The company will take the 200, but eventually it will collapse once again. And that's why when I was at the only police department I've ever had an issue, one police department was because, and as a matter of fact, I don't know if Rochelle is here, but she was there when I had an issue with this one sergeant who had heard from Dave Ramsey.
Yep, I'm here.
Oh, there. Were you there, Rochelle? Remember?
Yes.
And I mean, and the guy just was. Now, everything he said, and it was an oxymoron because everything he did say was true under certain bad circumstances. So this is what he was saying. I heard, and Dave Ramsey said, you're going to put all your money in there, and then one day you're going to check, and there's no balance. You have no money. Well, it's true. I mean, if it's set up the wrong way, and a lot of people do that for the sake of greed. You have no clue how many agents, once they figure out target premium, wait a minute, I can do a $400 a month IUL and get a huge commission, but they only get to pay $200. And by the time this thing collapses on them, literally, it'll take years. I'll be long gone. And they do it. And it's illegal. That's the horrible part. It should not be allowed. Nobody should ever be sold anything beyond what their target or what their magic number is. So anyways, all the numbers that you need are right here. Now, having said that, I think this is going to take me back one for, okay, so having said that, so what I did, I just clicked on view reports, and then boom, it brought me right here. Now, I want to go over the columns with you real quick. So let me just minimize this because I can't see everything here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over the columns of what this means right here. So this is the way the illustration will pop up, and I'm going to zoom in again in just 1 second. First, you have policy year. Obviously, that means the year when you started the IUL, age, how old they are at that given age, plan premium, what you're scheduled to be paying, loan, meaning how much money you're pulling out, annual income, when we start turning it into an annuity. It's not an annuity, but when we start to turn on the spigot, this is what we're going to be looking at. Accumulated value simply means the gross value. Why? Because the IUL always comes with surrender charges. And so I'll be covering that in just 1 second. So accumulated value is the gross number that somebody, a client, has in their IUL. However, the number that matters the most for them is going to be their surrender value. If they cancel this policy or surrender it, this is what they would walk away. They can have 11,000 in accumulated value, but only 6,000 in the surrender charge. And that's another thing. The number one reason people walk away from IULs, number one reason is because here's usually typically the way it goes down. I might be working for Primerica. I might be working for another company, and I say, let's just say Stephen, this is his IUL. And I say, Stephen, did you know that right now, were you aware that you owe this company about $8,000? Like, no, I'm using this to save for my retirement. I know, but did you know that you owe the money? I don't know what you're talking about. And then boom, he shows me his policy, and I show him the surrender charges on this thing. And immediately he thinks I screwed him, which I kind of did if I didn't explain to him. And that's because most agents have never been taught how to properly explain surrender charges. I always lead with surrender charges. Who here can give me their best bill? Literally 30-second interpretation. I'm the client. What are, I heard this IULs have surrender charges. Does your IUL have surrender charges? Unless it's, well, yeah. Okay, now how the hell does that benefit me then? Who can tell me what you would say? Anybody?
Hello, good afternoon. I would say all IULs have surrender charges. It usually takes a company 10 years to recuperate all the investment they put in you because you don't put anything down, just your down payment. But for example, year number 3, if you have a cash value accumulated of $8,000, but year number 3, you're still within that 10-year surrender charge, you're only going to walk away with $4,000 instead of the entire $8,000 if you cancel your account prematurely. But if you wait until the 10th or 11th year, you walk away with everything plus the interest.
Okay, thank you. Good job. Okay. And somebody else, why would I even want surrender charges? How would that even, sounds like it's protecting you guys more than it's protecting me. Who wants to take on that one?
Your money needs time to grow.
No. Somebody else, Monica, please. Thank you. Somebody else, come on. There's a bunch of people here. Licensed life insurance agents who tell me they sell tons of IUL. So this is your moment to shine.
Well, they're making a long-term commitment to you,
Oh.
and therefore they have to make long-term investments, and it takes a while for them to, gear it up and get things going. You're giving them a little bit of money, and they're guaranteeing and promising, tens of thousands of dollars in insurance and life insurance, and obviously a lifetime income down the road.
Okay, cool. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that I always recommend to everybody. We need to be very well versed at, because I'm telling you right now, I volunteer the information. I always tell people, look, listen, I know this almost sounds too good to be true. However, there are 2 things you have to keep in mind. Number 1 is to try to qualify for it. Every week we have to tell people, I'm so sorry, but you were denied. And once you're denied with one company, you're more than likely going to be denied with all the other companies. So this is not something that everybody qualifies for. The second thing you have to be aware of are the surrender charges, which in my opinion are one of the best parts of this plan, because it makes it accessible to the masses. You've got people who have a lot of experience in this business who will charge you nothing up front to pass that information and knowledge on to you. That's going to help you secure your financial future. And the best part is that you're only going to start with the $400 for your first month, and that's it. Now, it is a decreasing schedule that only goes down and only applies if you surrender or give up your policy. If you need to reduce it to the minimum, it doesn't affect it. If you need to go ahead and make your payments from your cash value, it doesn't affect it. This only applies if you give up. And you just told me you wanted lifetime income, meaning you're going to have this plan for the rest of your life. Now, when would you want to give up the life insurance peace of mind for your family? Never. That means this plan has to be with you for the rest of your life. However, if you think there's even a small chance that you're going to cancel this plan within the first 10 years, do me a huge favor, don't do it. Because I've never had a problem or an issue with the teacher, and I would not want you to be the first one. I'm telling you right now, this is what I have in my life, and it's the best thing I have going. They can come repo my cars, they can come take my home, but I will not give up the IUL for the simple fact that this represents too much, like it does for you as well. And again, this only applies. And so as you notice here, by the time you're in your, I call it a 6 year, it's 10 years technically, but by the time you're in your 6th year, you've got $25,000 in this plan. You walk away with 22. You have 30 with 27. You have 42. You walk away with 40. And until it meets right here, 55,915, you walk away with 55,915. But even then, I would tell you it's foolish to walk away with that money when you can opt for lifetime income that parallels your pension. But unlike your pension, this one's going to be 100% income tax free. And so in this example, you see how when you retire, you're going to have your CalSTRS fully taxable pension for life, which is great, but you're going to have an additional stream of income of $31,000 a year, income tax free every year until you die. Remember that horrible income gap? We just wiped that out right now. When would you want to give up that type of peace of mind? Well, never. Of course, never. And that's exactly why we're here. Very simple.
Javier, on this money, please help me remember. So like is it taken out as a loan at like a 0.25% interest rate or something like
The
that?
way it works is this is an actual loan, and I'm going to show you the interest rates in just 1 second. There is an interest rate involved. Now, who here can tell me why they have to pay an interest rate on this money, and who is it paid to? Anybody know? Now,
It's paid back to themselves, right? And they have
Okay.
to do it. They have to do it so that it's because this is a life insurance policy, right? That's the whole point of it all.
the
right?
short answer, you're right. The short answer is that the IRS says that the only way this is considered a loan is if there's an interest rate attached to it.
Yeah.
And so it is what the IRS themselves calls a wash loan. Interest is charged, but interest is earned on it, and it washes, but it's still technically 100% a loan, making it income tax free.
Well, the reason why it's a wash loan is because the interest rate credited is in excess to the interest charged.
100%.
The
Exactly.
higher interest rate that's being credited, which is what you want, washes out the lower interest that you're paying. And obviously, since it's a loan, if I loaned you $10,000, are you claiming that on your income tax? Obviously not. This is the same concept. They're loaning you the money with the collateral being the life insurance, the death benefit. And if you keep it until you die, everything's great.
And that's why in the script, it says, let's just say you pass away at the ripe old age of 92, and there's $1 million coming towards your family. What we are going to do, they're going to go ahead and hold back all the loan interest and so on. Minus that, the rest of it goes to your beneficiary, income tax free. So you won while you were alive. They win when you pass away. And it's the ultimate win-win situation for you and your family as well. And so we show this. Now, just so you know, if it's not on the script, don't say it. You don't want to say too much and confuse the hell out of people. So that's why it's so important in appointment number 2. And that's why most appointments, again, are 20, 25 minutes max, because if we go into the really deep end of the pool about the IUL, you're going to more than likely end up confusing people. But here's what I recommend for you and for your clients. If you get to the part, I'm always asking them, what are your thoughts on this? And they're like, okay, what's the next step? Well, before we get too far ahead of ourselves, we do have to take an application and make sure that you qualify for it. Because like I told you, unfortunately, every week we have to call people that they did not get approved. Based on what you've told me so far, no medicines, no health issues, no tobacco, I don't see why you wouldn't get approved. But let's just keep our fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Let me just have your driver's license, please, and we'll start it. Here's what I wanted to show you. I do encourage you to click the reports, even though it's not part of the script. And it's going to give you a bunch of options that you can choose from right here. And you can go ahead and just do nothing. My recommendation is just hit run reports, less to remember. And when you click on that run report, it's going to put together a full PDF that, again, if you're talking to them on the first appointment, you're probably already running out of time. So what you want to do is get just to this summary page right here. And this is what I show them right here. Now, I like all computers. You can zoom in and stuff like that to make it easier on everyone's eyes. And so as you can see here, we're talking with you paying $400 a month, which we're redirecting from your 403B. So no new money, or maybe it is new money. I don't know. But the peace of mind comes knowing that if you, God forbid, you die tomorrow, your family will receive $361,240 to make sure that they are taken care of. If you end up needing cash, by the time you're 67, you'll have about $151,000 in there. By the time you're 82, over $631, you can access that at any time for any reason without any penalties or taxes, which is the key to staying debt-free. And then God forbid you do come with the illness of some type. Well, if it's terminal, you can access the entire $400,000 at age 63. Or if it's chronic, you get 2% of that every month, which is around $8,000. If it's something critical, heart attack, stroke, cancer, Lou Gehrig disease, and so on, you got about 400 up to 408,000. And if it's a critical injury, what was just added a few years ago, now we're talking about injuries, another 408,000. For the critical illness, which is probably the most powerful and most requested reason people sign up for the IUL, you need to be in a position where you cannot perform 2 of the 6 what are called activities of daily living, ADLs. Anybody know what those are?
Eating,
dressing, toiletering,
Yourself. That's
bathing.
everything. Everybody's right. Just add yourself. If you can,
Bathing.
Bathing yourself.
exactly.
Going to the bathroom.
Yeah. Always at the part. And you guys were right. So congratulations. If you cannot feed yourself, bathe yourself, transfer yourself, totally, so just say that and they're good to go. Now, how long will, let's just say somebody takes, now it says up to 2% because most people opt for less. If they do opt for the maximum, which is 2%, for how many months can they receive that?
50 months.
50. And why 50 months?
I don't know why, but that's what it's because otherwise
Anybody know?
you'll be using up all your
Yeah,
your
if you
value,
take
right?
2% times 50 months, you used up 100% of the 400,000.
Yeah,
And
that's the death. They pay out the death benefit on a monthly basis is what they're
Pretty much.
doing.
Yeah,
Because
that's all it is. Exactly. And I've had I can't tell you how many people. We just found out about another client. We were in Apple Valley recording a testimonial of somebody who came down with a serious heart attack. Anyways, it was really, really bad. They remembered about the IUL and we were able to get them a ton of money. They were able to buy a house, do this, and he's doing better. We just got notified that the pastor for that local church just came down with 2 massive strokes and he had forgotten about the IUL. As a matter of fact, Alan Guerra called me and said, hey, remember the pastor? Yeah, got 2 strokes. I called him up. He forgot about the IUL and the living benefits. So he went up there last week to submit the paperwork to get him his money, which people just cannot believe we were able to do that. I don't go beyond this page because if you do, you're going down a complete rabbit hole when you're explaining too many things to them. You're already done showing them the numbers that should make them want to do this. Everything here, they're going to get in the form of a printout or a digital one when they go ahead and receive their policy. The only time people go into this, they don't know how to transition to the close. They're afraid to just simply ask for the damn sale. You don't want to do that. I'm telling you right now, you don't want to do that. If anything, I do believe in this one because everything's been said in different ways, but great, I'll give you this. The images are nice, big, bold, and you can change. This shows at age 63. You can actually come in here, and when you request a report, you can actually go in there and change the age. You can change a lot of different things here. If you wanted to go ahead and do that, just leave it as it is, and then go right back to it. And like I said, look, listen, Mr. or Mrs. Client, Mrs. Teacher, I don't want to overpromise you anything because like I told you, there definitely is an element of qualification involved here. And so what we want to do is before we get too far down the road, make sure you qualify. Here's the best part. By California law, you're going to have what's called the free look period, during which you're going to be able to review everything I shared with you. And for whatever reason you feel that it's not right for you, your premium is refunded to you 100%. I'm sure obviously you're not going to want to do that because this is going to give you everything you asked for and more. And so the next step is to take the application. Do you have any questions at all? No, did a good job. Okay, well, all I need is your driver's license, please, to get the application going, and I'll go ahead and do that. The only time, if I'm at my 25-minute mark, 20-minute mark, and I know I'm not going to, I can't do an application in under 10 minutes, I'm going to ask him, what I would like to do is come back a third time to take the application or do it via Zoom. So having said that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with all of you here right now something I think you should all have with you at all times, all the time. And so what I'm going to do in the chat, I'm going to go ahead and throw in there the link to the NLG LSW California application kit for the IUL. Always have at least one full printout of this application with you because what you could do, take down all the information on paper and then input it onto the computer system when you get back to your computer and so on. You always want to have at least one copy. This is for the California agents only, which is all of you. And so this is going to help make it that much more easier. Also, if you're going to practice going through the application because there's a lot of things on the application that you're going to have to be aware of when you actually submit your first one. Now, what I'm going to do, and again, this is not, and I repeat.
Hey,
Go
Javier,
ahead.
what was that free look days? How many was the free look
Free
again?
look period in California. Anybody know? First of all, let's see. We have
30 days.
What is it?
Thank you.
30 days.
Got it.
Okay.
All right. So what I'm going to do, and that's the answer, by the way, 30 days. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you one last thing. And it's in the script, by the way. The script says in California, by California law, you have, and then it goes on to say 30 days to look for it. If you don't like it, blah, blah, blah. It's true. I've never had it happen, but theoretically, it is 100% true. And so I'm telling you, if you stick to the script and you shut up about anything and everything else, you're going to walk out of there with the application, just like Monica already did, and a ton of other people did this past week. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here again into the NLG, and I'm going to make sure that you can see it. And once you, okay, there you go. And so once you see it here, what I'm going to do, again, this is not a race, but you get to cheat because of the simple fact that when you do this, you're going to do the initial application at home or your office or wherever the hell you're going to do, right? And then by the time you go back, you just don't forget to save it. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start with from scratch with an illustration, and I'm just going to use very generic numbers, just like, again, we do every single time. But I wanted you to see and feel comfortable that no, you're not going to have to worry too much about getting, if you practice. And so here, having said that, I'm going to start my clock in just 1 second. Boom, I just started the stopwatch. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to come in here and do a new one. It's California IUL. It's Flex Life, like I told you. I'm going to come in here. Johnny, let's just say Montian. It's a male, was born in August 30th, 1994. 29 years old, non-tobacco. I'm going to go to the left. Funding. Okay, I'm going to do minimum maximum, which is right there. I'm going to leave it at A for level. I'm going to switch it from annual to monthly. And here, I'm going to specify an amount. And this person wants to do a $300 a month IUL. And I'm going to change it from 1 through M. I'm going to change that through 1 through H 62. That's going to change down here. So I'm going to go down now. So I got that. For income, I want to solve for income. I want the computer to tell me. It did it automatically. It went to A63. I'm going to hit quick view. There are my numbers. Okay, 287 looks good. 300 a month looks good. 818 is the minimum. Everything looks good. Let me stop it. 1 minute and 29 seconds. So even if I had a client in front of me, I can still do this. Now, here's what I would recommend. Now, in this example, this is what I'm going to do. What I'm going to do is on the upper right-hand corner, there's a save as. Nobody ever clicks it. I don't know why. I think it's hard to see. I don't know. People always complain, I lost my illustration. I lost it. Listen, you go to save as, like I'm doing right now. It's going to open up this box. And I'm going to save it as such. I'm going to put Johnny Montian, and this is a $300 a month IUL. I'll put $300 in my cases and save. Now, why did I do that? I did that because if I'm sitting there and I'm smart, the Georges, the Cathys, the Hatters, they are masters of finding money that other people are doing with something else. That's not going to give them as much value and consolidating it. So if I gave this to, let's just say George, they'd probably be doing at least 500. So at the least, I know for a fact, he would say, look, let's see what 400 would look like. Now here at 300, you're getting $28,000 a year in tax-free income every year for the rest of your life, which is incredible, right? Because we're making up that income gap. But look at this. I want to show you something. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back under death benefit and funding again, and I'm going to switch it from 300, which is this right here, to simply put 400. I'm going to go ahead and leave that alone, 400. I'm going to run quick view. And now the annual income, $37,950, almost $38,000 a year for just $100 more a month or $25 a week, which is about 2 to 3 cups of Starbucks a week, which is simply incredible. Now, what I'm going to do now, this is $400. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to save as, and I see it's already here, saved as 300. I'm going to change this to 400. Let me see if it's at 400. I'm going to hit save. But the reason that you want to do this also is this person just might say, you know what? I think I want to do this. So I like the 48. But the point that I'm making is at this point, you can literally come in here and either go to your cases. You can, here, incredible, I'll show you how fast it is. You can go to your cases and pull it up or search for it by name. Let's see. There's the 300. It's going to pull it up. Now, if you look at the top under open items, it shows 2 right there. It shows 2. And if I click on the drop down, the 300 and the 400 are both open. So if I come in here and I click on quick view, like I just did right now, here's the 300. That gives you 28,000. Okay, write it down. What was the other one? Oh, I don't remember. Let me go back to the 400.
37.
Okay, so now I'm going to come in here and click on, if you notice, I didn't have to run it. It's 37.9, almost 38. I mean, and so what I'm getting at, this is just a little shortcut that you should use. Save it each time, open it again, and you can have multiple cases open right here. Now, what if somebody says, yeah, but for 400 a month, 385, I was hoping to have at least $500,000. What would you do? It doesn't happen, but I just want to just go over this with you. Anybody? What would you do?
The face value of $500,000 and see how much more it's going to be.
Or that great point. What you're saying is you would switch it to $500,000 to see how much that would cost. Here's the beauty: you can make it $500,000 and still leave it at 400. Does that make sense? Now, how do you do that? You go to death benefit right here. Now, we told it we want it minimum maximum. So you cannot do that. If based on what you're telling me, you cannot do that. But if we say, no, none, I don't want you to figure it out, computer. I want 500,000. You just tell it what you want. If you know how to work this thing, now I go to my quick view. Now, what's going to happen? Now it's $500,000. Now it's $400 a month. But if we look at the income, it went from 38,000 or whatever to 35,000. That's not bad. You see that? And it illustrates a lot better. You can do that. This is not target premium. We're not screwing them like that. We're just simply rounding this off manually. We're overriding the system. Now, what you might see sometimes, which we don't see here, and you're fine, because what happens is there are times where it will collapse, or there are times where it won't take any more money. And so if I come in here and I was to change that, and this is the last thing I'm going to go over, by the way, and I'm done. Let's just say I say 200,000, because this person really wants to save the money. All right, 200,000. But if you notice, 4,800, which is 400 a month, 400 a month. But look what happens in year number 9. They can only put in 3,400. And look at year 10, nothing. They can't put anything, nothing. They cannot start again until year 17. And then they can only put so much. You guys see this? I mean, that was badly structured, by the way. And I would never, ever do that. But I'm just showing you that there are safeguards, but you need to learn how to read the basics of the software as well. Any questions before wrap it up from anyone? All right. If no one has any questions, here's what I would recommend. Please practice, because here's what I recommend. The last time we did 30-minute segments, because everybody was doing just appointment number 1. My recommendation is that if you haven't passed the whole thing on appointment number 1, make a double appointment so you can knock out 1 and 2 while you're there. And so that way, we got to get this done, guys. It's around the corner. I know it sounds like, as a matter of fact, tomorrow I'm going to get the final determination from National Life Group if they're going to be able to do it. We're looking at August 28th, which is a Saturday. They're going to fly out to Buena Park. And they're going to
I thought it was the 15th of August you initially said.
You know what? The issue that we are, well, I'm not having any issues, but the issue that they are having is it's based on their availability. The first one was, no, in the first dates were a little different. Let me show you this right here, what I'm talking about, so you understand. So that's what I'm saying. Wait till I get the final dates, because you see Jessica Chavez right there. Jessica is the lady down at the hotel where we're doing this. David Gilmore. I'll give you an example of what I mean. David Gilmore. And so this is him from National Life Group, David Gilmore. And so what he wanted to do, or what he said, because this is the dates that I had sent him. As you can see, we're going back and forth. It's the 26th. Okay, because here, the room is available. Anyway, so I was giving him all the details of everything, and he came back and said, well, no, we cannot be available. All right. So I said, are either of you available August the 26th. So I told them, I checked today, as a matter of fact, with the hotel, and they said yes, the 26th. So I got to get the okay from him because they're coming.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
gonna be out of town that
Oh,
weekend.
my God.
Ugh, I had it for the 15th.
But the key thing, though, to keep in mind, I don't know if were you able to see my computer right now? I'm just curious.
No, we weren't.
Here, I just want to show you. No, this is what I was showing you. This is the emails going back and forth with David Gilmore. But the point that I was making, see if somebody, both Ross and I are tied up. I can't be there. It's someone else, or do you have another? I was like, okay, let's see. Then he came back and this, and so I said, okay, this for the whole time. But the point that I'm making is, okay, because then they said the 26th is for the ballroom, and so that's what they were saying, that that one is okay. Then I went back here. I believe we are available. Let me know the all-in cost, because they're going to pay for everything. I mean, these guys know how much business we give them. They're going to pay for everything. We're going to make it free, by the way, for you guys. So there's not going to be any fees or anything like that. Now, it's not the end of the world, because unlike that won't stop you from producing. What will stop you from producing, which I would be very worried if I were some of you, the auditions. If you haven't done the audition, I'm telling you, I'm not going to lie to you. You're not going to get anything. I mean, you have to pass them. There's just no way around that. So I wouldn't worry about that event. That's a small event. Only 40 people are coming to the National Life Group Show. They're 403B approved. They're going to be doing their training. We're going to be doing our final training, because by then the emails are going back out. Also, what I would ask for you guys to do, once you become appointed with National Life Group or LSW, if you start to bring your business here, because we want people to have at least 3 pieces of business, because we have, as a matter of fact, I'll show it to you right now. We have the campaign going out tomorrow, which is this one right here. Let me show it to you right now. This is the campaign going out tomorrow. It's the one for educators in California. We're working with 10,000 teachers via email, and it just simply says, hello. It's a video. So this is a script, and it takes them to a funnel. They go ahead, and just like you guys, some of you registered for the webinar. It's really not your registration. We just capture your info, and then we pass that information based on the date and time that they did. So that's what's going to keep us very profitable during the month of July. But we need to start seeing that you know what you're talking about, that you know what you're doing, that you're fully competent in all aspects of this. And it's just going to make it look, it's going to happen faster, is what I'm saying, if you start to bring some of your business. Monica, we gave her one appointment. She closed it. She brought 2 of her own pieces of business. She's tier 2. She's tier 2 as far as we're concerned. So she's going to start to get some of our emails, and she's coming to the police event as well to hopefully get more appointments there. But everybody talks a good game. I'm not disrespecting anybody. I just don't know you like you don't know me. And hopefully from day one that I've met all of you, I've come through in showing you, Rochelle, you've been to the police events, you've been to, others have been to the teachers events. Like I always say, let me go first. Let me show you on my part. And once I do that, but some of you, haven't shown me a whole lot. You haven't taken the audition. You haven't passed the audition. We're running out of time. I like to be working 4, 6, 8 weeks ahead, because I will tell you one thing about me. I don't do broke too well. I don't do that. And I will do it with this group. I will raise another army if I have to. But some of you are a little behind. So I'm asking you to please take your auditions, pass them. If you don't pass them, like I told you, most people don't pass the first time around. It's not the end of the world. Just study, practice, and do it again. But the magic happens once you pass that. So, all right, if no one has anything else, I want to say thank you. I'm sorry I went over the 1 hour mark by a few minutes.
Javier,
sure. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah. So for those of us that have to do the second audition, what do you think the projected date will be?
We're going to do 2 things. I'm actually going to rent that office again. I'm waiting for Griselda, who's the owner, the broker of that office, to give me a few days next week during the week, and then on a weekend date as well, so we can knock it all out, and I can just sit my butt there and work with whoever needs to get the work done. I'll give you some of the general feedback that I got, especially from George. Number 1, like I told you, I knew what's going to happen. Stay on script. It's amazing how sensitive we can get off script. Just stay on script. It'll be shorter. It'll be faster. And I'm going to actually call every single one of you that took it and show you what you did right, what you need to improve. Not hold back any punches, because one thing I will tell you, I have so much respect for George. He's very good at catching things that are going to make you a lot of money in the long run. And if he lets these things slip by, it's going to show when you're not closing business. So you'll get a call from me tomorrow. I promise you. Okay, guys? All right. Everybody else, thank you so much. I can't wait for August to roll around. It's around the corner. I'm in panic mode. People always tell me, what is wrong with you? We've got a whole month of that. No, we don't. No, we don't. Because I know what it takes to get a lot of people to make a lot of money. And we need an army of well-prepared people. And we still have a little bit of way to get there. So thank you so much, everybody. I really appreciate all you do. Anything comes up, give me a call like you all do. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye-bye.